All right, so good afternoon, everybody. We told you a couple of months ago when we did our initial training that we would do a couple of additional trainings just to kind of keep everybody on the same page with what's going on and give you an opportunity to ask questions because a lot of times y'all are asking the same questions. So might as well share the information at one time. So, and we did open it up to grantees too. So we do have a mix of external evaluators and grantees on this Zoom. Feel free to pop in the chat box, ask me questions, or just, when I pause, you can ask questions. Either one. Let's see, let's go to the next slide. All right, so I'm still having problems with seeing all my stuff, so I'm working with it. Okay, so again, just like I said, this is just a kind of formal but informal training FAQ last little snippet before the final reports are due for y'all to ask me questions, for me to give y'all all the information that we have at this point on the final report and the GEPA measures, because I know that is a point of contention. Um, so this is what we're going to talk about: final reports, easy report, GEPRA, and more. And thank you, Linda Williams, for our beautiful, colorful PowerPoint.
You're welcome.
All right, so again, same thing. And y'all, my screen is doing something funny for me today, so just bear with me. So I cannot see my I can see my easy report screen at all. So I have made all of my other TPI people um co-host so they can stop me or give me the questions that are in the chat box as we go, because I cannot see any of that, or let people in as they want to come in. So again, this is what we're going to talk about: easy report. We're going to talk about collecting and analyzing the data. Linda Williams is going to pretty much talk about that. The final report, you're going to ask me questions about that. Oh, let's go back. Sorry, trying to click another button. GEPRA, where's the GEPRA data? And that'll be a kind of mix between all of us, and then questions if you have any or when you have any. And you can stop me at any point with those questions. And so collecting and analyzing the data, everyone at this point should have, all the external evaluators should have access to the 23-24 and 24-25 easy report. If you do not, and it should be in a read-only capacity, if you do not, you need to send us an email. Any one of us can add you as a user to the grantees that you are evaluating this year. So just make sure that you reach out if you don't have access to that. Also, if you have any questions on where to find this data, we can navigate through that again today. I think we did that on the last training, but we can do it again as a refresher. You will need both access to 23-24 and 24-25. 23-24, you will need the school year data. 24-25, you will need the summer data, because that's how Easy Report splits it up into 2 different years, but for us, that's the fiscal year. So we need the school year data and the summer data. So 23-24 school year data and 24 summer data. Linda Williams, you want me to click on either one of these links?
Yes. When you click on, let's look at the 23-24, because that's where you're going to get your school year data from the 21 APR report. And I think most of you all are familiar with the 21 APR report. So if you click on that, Erica, it should take you to Easy Report. And it does. Yay.
It does, but let me think what my password is. This one doesn't like me.
And most of you all have already gone into Easy Report, and we pretty much know who's been in Easy Report and who has not, because Easy Report tells us. And so if you have not been in Easy Report since last year or January or February for that matter, I would invite you to go into Easy Report. It's going to be very difficult for you to write your final report without Easy Report. Easy Report has a ton. It's like a data warehouse. So it has a ton of information on attendance, information on whether or not how many faculty and staff, how many children are enrolled in your program. The 21 APR report, it has a ton of data. How many students are participating? How many hours are they participating? So all of this is a part of your final report, because each report is going to help you write that. But it's only going to do that if you go in and see what's available to you. And by now, everybody, if you're an external evaluator, should have access to easy report. And if you don't, please let us know, because the time is winding up. We're on 9/11. And we all know that 9/11 is a very special day, but we're on 9/11. This month is quickly passing us by. So hopefully you've had an opportunity to go in and look at some of the data from Easy Reports. Erica, click on reports for me, please.
All
Oh, go give me a grant. Well, I don't want you going to a grant. Just,
right, I can
yeah,
give you
just,
my test site,
okay.
um, and it'll at least show you how to maneuver to it.
And these are all the different reports, your activity report. They even have a summary of how many kids are actually in the program, what are the how they classified, um, what activities they're participating in. All of this is a part of your final report. And you know that your final report is filled with tables that you would have to complete. Now, some of the grantees said that they're filling those out, but remember, as an external evaluator, that is your responsibility to fill out those tables. And if you have questions about how to fill out those tables, make sure you all get in touch with us. But you can use the site coordinator as well as the program director as a resource to gather up the information that you need in order to write your report. Even with grades. Now, grades, depending on the grant, whether or not they indicated they were going to be using grades to analyze those grades, but they have to upload those grades in order for you to compare them. But we're going to talk about that later on with GEPRA, so we don't have to worry about that right now. Surveys is also a part of this. Erica is pulling up Report Wizard. Erica, go to where it says activity information. Click off a list. And the reason we're going to click off a list is because we don't want to see students' name. All you need is a count. All you need are numbers, and you can take those numbers and run with them. But you don't need to see the list of names of the children, but you do need the count. But you can ask for student demographic. Click on that, Erica.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got it. Then hit continue. Now, we want it by grade. Is there anything else we need to see on this, depending on what you're putting on your report? Now, it says active and drop. Remember, if that student or that child has attended the program for 1 hour, we're to include that child in the all, even if they dropped out. It doesn't matter. But if they've attended for 1 hour, the State Department is considering that as that child has actually participated in your program. Run that report where it says view Excel report, Erica.
It's not going to give you anything because
Okay.
it's not enough
Okay,
data.
but if you were to view it, you should get a number count. Like I said, no students, you should not be having access to student name, but the data is available. Is there any questions that you all may have about Easy Report, how to get into Easy Report, how to pull information off of Easy Report? Is very, very, very simple once you get in it. Now, I want you to caution you that Easy Report has made some changes. Not a whole lot of changes, but nevertheless, they've made some changes. And we were trained on some of the changes that Easy Report has for this new system that we're in, which is 24-25. And of course, you know, with the 24-25 system, that's where you're going to be placing the summer data. So you have to do the school year and you also have to do the summer, and all have to be in your final report. Any questions about how to use Ease Report? Hey, Erica, I know this is a dummy, but can you go back and look at the 21 APR report? Because I think they're pretty much familiar on how to, this report is extremely important. But I've been asked some questions about how come I cannot run it for the summer. You cannot run a 21 APR report for the summer. We don't take grades during the summer. So there's nothing in 21 APR for us. You have activities, you have students, but you have no grades. There's no grades. So there's no, and the State Department only counts the school year. The summer is also counted, but not in 21 APR. And so in 21 APR, you see where it says activities, staff, and participation. All of those are counted in the APR report. So if you were to click on that, it gives you the grant, it gives you the site, and it tells you explicitly how many children participated, what activity, how many activities, but it does not give a name. There's no name. So there's no need for student names at all. Click on that so we can see a sample of that report, Erica.
It's not gonna give you a sample because
Oh,
it's
it's
blank,
it's a blank. Okay, but
but
anyway,
it'll look like that.
gotcha. But those, the first thing you're gonna get is the activities. It's also gonna give you some information on your teachers. It is important that when you are putting your teachers in or your staffs in, you're listing them as whether they are teachers, whether they're volunteers, whether they're students, whether they're contract workers, but whatever, that is all reported in Easy Report. That's a part of the process. And even with the your children are placed in groups, whether they're in kindergarten, first grade, second, third, fourth, whatever grade, they're placed in groups. And it tells you exactly how many kids are in each group. But I think you all are pretty much familiar with the 21 APR report. I don't think we have any trouble there. Summer is a little bit more difficult for you all to fill in because you don't have that 21 APR report. And you sometimes have to use your Excel sheet to try to figure out the data. Since Easy Report does not break that 21 APR down in the summer, you're going to have to use Excel. And if you're having trouble with how to use Excel and how to aggregate that data, please contact me. I promise you I'll walk you through it. I won't leave you, I promise. But sometimes you do have to aggregate that data to see the numbers, especially during summer session.
Sarah Odom asked, can we walk through how to find the staff training? And that's if they have entered it into Easy Report. Everybody
Yeah,
does not use this because this is a newer function in the last couple of years. So if I go to stakeholder, and this is under the grantee home, you don't have to log into the site for it. Stakeholder, then staff. All right, I thought I did. Yeah, I got some text stuff. So this is where the PD is. So everybody's name is right here, and then PD 21 point hours, and this is where I can see that this person has participated in that, and then I can print the records. I also think there's a way to do it in reports too, but I might have to play
But now
around with
you
that.
have to keep in mind that if the grantees does not enter the information on professional development in Easy Report, it will not be there.
Right.
They have to enter that information.
It's also under reports, staff reports, and then PD attendance records. And it'll do for all the staff, PD records by staff, and then PD attendance records and status reports. So, yeah. So we have a
Yeah,
couple of different places. I would definitely try to encourage your grantees. We have also encouraged them to enter their PD in there. When I do a training, setting up a new site or with a new staff person, I always point this out and show them how easy it is to enter versus them having to create this record for their final report for their external evaluators. And they also have to create this record for compliance. So if they
exactly.
could just go in and print it from Easy Report, that would be the best bet. But everybody's not, yeah, everybody's not putting the information in. Just keep nudging that, some things will be easier if they would put it all in. But as we have staff turnover, they're doing the best they can, is what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
we have a lot of stuff
Um
in turnover.
24-25 Easy Report looks very similar. Do you want to look at that
Mhm.
one too?
Yes,
Um we do have some changes, but not drastic. Hold on a second. Okay, y'all can see that screen, right?
yes.
There are a few changes, but not enough to bother y'all. It's not going to stop the reports from being entered. The main thing is that there are some grantees. If you get to this and you say, well, they don't have any summer data in, and you know they did summer, I would be checking with them to see what their progress is on adding their summer attendance, because we do have some grantees who are just a little bit behind. I think most of them have entered in their summer data at this point. Linda Dean checked me on that. But I think we have a few that might be missing some data. And we also have some schools and districts, and you need to check with your district to see if they have a different type of circumstance. We've had some schools that have closed and they've had to merge. We've had some schools, we've had a lot of schools that have had to close and merge or merged for the summer. So you need to make sure that the data that you are reporting is accurate, because you need to be continuously having conversations with your grantees to see what their circumstance is. Because a lot of them did for the summer, oh, well, we combined some sites. So you need to figure out how to split the data, because they might have combined two 21st century sites together as one, which students came from this school and which students came from this school, so you can accurately reflect the numbers.
Also, on this piece as well, Erica, if it's a brand new cohort 17, because some people have been asking about the information on the template for the final report does not apply to some of the questions, which is correct if it's brand new. But if you have a cohort 17 that used to be a cohort 15, that information you should be able to compare. Because the only thing they got was a new grant. So don't put NA or not applicable because they were 15 and now they're 17. If they're 15, you should be able to go back and look at the data from previous year to do a comparison.
Yes.
That was,
So
yeah,
we
that was,
want to we have a lot of grantees who have been operational for 13, 12, 15, 17.
mhm.
Give them some longitudinal data. Give them some things that they can look at to see how their program has progressed. Miguel, yes, if they did not write summer in their grant, because every 21st century program does not do a summer program, depending on what their grant was awarded for. So if their grant was not awarded or was awarded without summer, then you can skip the summer section. Just take it out. You can, like you said, you put on that they don't have a summer section, they don't have a summer program, that's fine. What reports from Easy Report do we have to attach to the final reports?
that's a it
They're
Dr.
varied.
Bird, if you look at your appendices, it lists the things that you need to attach, like your observation, your surveys. And we're not just talking about, and we're going to talk about that later on in the PowerPoint. We're not just talking about surveys from Easy Report. Since you're an external evaluator, you should be giving them other surveys besides what Easy Report has. Now it's okay to give them that. It's no, because as a matter of fact, you need some type of surveys, but those should not be the only ones that you give them to come up with your data. So your surveys, your observation, you should do within a year 3 if you have a summer program, but if you do not have a summer program, it's 2.
I understand that, but last year we were asked to attach different types of report to the final report. I was just wondering, I looked at the appendices as far as the 23-24 final report, but I didn't know how much you wanted to attach to the report.
Okay, we're going to talk about that later on in this PowerPoint. So can you hold that question for just a second? Because we're going to pull up that final report template, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's
Now,
switch and go
Erica,
back.
can you do me a favor? Can you click where it says dashboard? A lot of you all don't utilize dashboard, but dashboard for each grantee is filled with information from Easy Report. And I don't know how many of you all use this, but it is a great access. If you click on it, like, is this we still in your sample, Erica? We're in
No,
this.
this is just the state
Okay, look,
dashboard. I can give
okay.
you the test.
Okay, even if you look at the state dashboard, it is, I mean, it has a ton of
Yeah, I'll give you
information.
the
How many
I'll give you the
activities,
state
how many
one.
participated, how many programs.
because it shouldn't list. But then this
Yeah.
is giving me like, and this would be information that would be on your for the grantees too. If you have some, it's gonna tell you the difference between the 16 and 17 cohorts, the participation numbers, and this will give you the number,
And it gives you
total
two,
unduplicated numbers.
yeah. And it gives it to them in charts. So if you were at a particular school or site, I should say, it gives how many participants, what's the activity, and they also give a comparison. So make sure you look at that dashboard. It is filled with information. And some of those you can download. You see the little arrow, Erica, with the download button. You can download that and add those to your reports. This is also data. Because I don't see a whole lot of those in the report, but they can be placed inside of your report if need be, if need be.
Let's go
We just
back.
wanted to make sure that you all had gone into Easy Report. Like I said, there's some have not, but I know that you all are doing an outstanding job on working on your final report. But Easy Report is available. If you cannot get into Easy Report, please let us know so that we can give you access.
If you want to look at the historical data outside of 22, 20, or 23, 24, if you have access, if you were the external evaluator those years, then you should be able just to change the website name to 22, 23 or 23, 24, and it should let you get into at least 23, 24. Well, yeah, 22 and 23. Some of them at a certain point, they lock us out. So you can try that. If it doesn't, then let me know and I probably can pull some of the data for you. Or I can get them to open it up for me for a little while.
They'll do it temporarily.
Mm-hmm. And they are working on, this is an upcoming change with Easy Report. They're working on merging all of their websites into us just having one website and being able to look at all of the years in one website versus every year our website name changes or our domain name changes to whatever the year is. So hopefully that will be by next year. So it won't be us having to toggle through multiple different domain names. So where's the Gepper data? Let me give y'all an update on that. Remember last year I said I hate giving the grantees extra work to do, but just because of the deadlines that we receive for getting this data from Power School, a lot of the data, depending on what they wrote in their RFA, they should be gathering and giving to you or entering into Easy Report separately. So we do have a lot of grantees. If you didn't align your RFA with the GEPRA standards, like I'm going to increase my students' grades by a percentage or something like that, then or their GPA, because GPA is what we have, not raw grades, then more than likely, if you're waiting on GEPR scores, you probably are waiting in vain. If you are looking for if they increased for the test scores, then that will eventually be in there. But I'm gonna be honest with y'all, we just got the data from Power School Monday. And that's us getting the raw data from Power School. It has not gotten into Easy Report yet. It has not been wiped for errors because then we have to look at and figure out if this child was checked, but they're not in the system, or this child was checked and their name or their state student ID number is not quite the same in the system. So we have to go through that whole process at this point. So it might be another 2 weeks before we have that data ready in Easy Report. Once it's ready, I will let everybody know. But as I've been suggesting to everybody ahead of time, I will be looking for alternative methods to get this data that should be reported in the final report. Now, if you're looking for demographics, what grades the students were in, how old they are, all of those things, demographic information is in Easy Report. If they entered it in, they should have entered that into the students. Want to know how many days they were at the program, that's an Easy Report. So play around with Easy Report. Y'all have access. Make sure that you're looking at the help, the support button, because it has like 2-minute videos. They also have instructions that'll kind of walk you through the process, to like written and video. So be mindful of that. And then still, we're available if you have questions on something that you want to look at in easy report. But for right now, the GEPRA data, it is a process. The school districts don't report the data to Power School or to the State Department until normally the end of July, 1st of August. So that only gives us less than a month to request that data from them and try to turn it over to where it's accessible for y'all. So just, I know that's a lot of information. We are trying to figure out how to make this process better. But that's the status of our GEPA data at this point. So
Yeah, and
we will
that's why
let
it's
y'all know when
important
it's
that
completely in there.
And that's why it's important that you build a rapport with your grantees so that they can turn over this information. Now, we do know that some of the grantees don't have access to all the students that they serve. But make sure you stay in contact with the program director or the person who's over federal program. And I know the person that's over federal program does have access to this information. So it's extremely important that you all go and you communicate and you talk and you get along with them. And that way they are more, apt to give you the information that you need versus you asking for it and they don't want to give it to you because of the law and what it says. So make sure you build that relationship with your grantees.
All right, so we're looking at the final report.
Click on that link, Erica, where it says final report. I put links inside of the PowerPoint. What's on your mind? And Dr. Bird is already is not, okay, there it is. Can you blow it up just a little bit because I can barely see it?
Let me try to move some stuff around.
Okay. Well, I can see it. It's just is little. But that's the new final report template. Please indicate to us whether you're doing cohort 16 or 17. What year is the grantee in? Is it year 1, 2, or 3? That information is on the front cover. Needs to be complete. Please make sure you fill the information out correctly, because sometimes I go back and I look at the email address and the email address may be incorrect. So make sure you have the correct program director, make sure you have the correct site coordinator and the technical advisor. All the sites should have a technical advisor by now.
Their technical advisors have let them know who they are at this point. So you should be able to get that information. We should not have outdated information for technical advisors. So make sure that you update that. And we've also had some site directors and program directors switch in the last month or so. So make sure that you are reaching out if you have a new person or you notice that your program director or somebody that you have been contacting for your program and their emails are bouncing and you don't know who else to contact. Let us know. Get with us. We generally get an update on staff changes and we can generally point you in the right direction for that staff person. So just let us know. And remember, with this template, this is a template. You do not have to have this red and blue on your template. You can recreate this. I do want this 21st century logo on it. And I do want it to say final report, but you shouldn't send me something that says final report template. Recreate this. This should say, and I'm already looking at this, it says final report 24, 23, and it's supposed to say 24, 23, 24. So make sure that you recreate this. So you don't have to tell me name of LEA/CBO. You should just put whatever that name is, whatever the school system, Macon County or Sheffield, whatever that is, that's what you need to be listing, not necessarily name of LEA, name of 21st century program served. So, and some people don't understand that those are two different things. So that should be Sheffield City Schools and then Sheffield Elementary School or whatever the site is. And some of the sites have catchy names. Don't give me the catchy name, give me the actual school that they serve, because that's what we're linking their grant to. Their location. So just so on and so forth. But just make sure you're giving me the information, not these titles that we gave you. We gave you this template because we wanted to be explicit in what we're looking for, but we're not looking for you to give me, site coordinator name and then list the person's name, because these spaces aren't big enough for that.
No, it's not. And be creative, because you're creating a report that represents the sites that you serve or the grantees that you serve. So be creative.
So we're giving you this information. I'm gonna say again, we like color, we like pictures. The State Department likes pictures. And this is something that the grantees are supposed to be able to use and share with their stakeholders. A principal might be more likely to read this if you had pictures of his students throughout this. He might actually share this with his superintendent. So be mindful of that, or she or he, sorry. Be mindful of that when you're doing this report, because you should have pictures, or if you don't have pictures, you should be able to go to their Facebook page or reach out to them and say, hey, can you send me some pictures of some of your activities so I can add it to my report. Also know that your report is being used to for the grantee's continuation application. So they're going to take your recommendations and your findings from your final report, and they're going to take sections of that and put it into their continuation grant in EGAP. That'll be due in November normally. So they're looking for your data so that they can transpose it. So that's why we're trying to be really sticklers on it needs to be correct, and that they need to verify the information before you turn it into us.
Right. Now, Erica, I'm gonna tell you this because some of the final reports that we ran last year had different names on them. Please make sure you all get the names correctly, because even they had Linda Dean, and I know Linda Dean should not be on this final report, but make sure you get the correct people on the right basis for this final report. This page where it says reporting period should not be a part of your final report template. That page is just filled with information that you need. It's just a guide.
I'm looking at some of the questions in the chat box. So, Miguel, you should be able to compress your PDF file before you attach it to make it small enough. Yes, pictures sprinkled throughout. They do not have to just be in the appendices with the observation. And yes, your program and site director should make sure that the students in the pictures have consent to be photographed and be shared. That should be always before they have pictures. And yes, always ask before you take pictures, so that they can make sure that the students that don't have consent are not in your photos. So that's another reason why you're sending your final report to the site director or the program director before you're submitting it, so that they can comb through and make sure, oh, this child shouldn't be picked. Let me give you another picture to swap out for that. Good questions. You can change colors on the tables. Yes.
I promise you, this is
It's a
just a
template.
template. It's a
I
template.
want you to make it look different. It's just that we need
Template.
this actual information. So as long as the information is the same, I don't care what format you give it to me.
That's true. Just a template. It's just a template. You just need to make sure that all that information is entailed in your report. But this is just a template.
Okay, I'm trying to go to the appendices so I can see what Dr. Bird.
All the way down, I think.
Don't forget the signature page.
Please.
Your site director, your site coordinator, your project director, program director, they need to sign it and you need to sign it. These need to be wet signatures. And for people who are, oh, well, I don't have PDF or I can't scan, if they have a cell phone, they do. If you go in the notes section of your iPhone and you click the picture at the bottom, it's going to ask you, do you want to choose a photo or a video, or do you want to scan a document? And it will turn your picture into a PDF. So everybody has access to a PDF. Most of the schools have, if you have a Xerox machine, then it should do that also. But and then you're going to upload this Remember, we're not sending email and physical copies. There's no way we can keep up with that. So for the appendices, okay, so for the appendices, you are required to attach the signature page, which we've given you, a copy of all of your site visit observation instruments with scores, comments, and the external evaluator and site director signature. So remember, you're supposed to do an observation for every semester. So that should be fall, spring, and summer if they have a summer program. And then you should be going, and remember, you were supposed to do 2 observations. You were supposed to do an overall observation for me, and then you were choosing an observation. And this is from the NIOSH training. So you should have those forms that we sent out in the beginning. They should be on this form. When they actually have to upload their continuation application, they have to upload your first observation. And this is what they asked y'all for last year after the fact. They have to upload your first observation separate, and then they upload your whole final report with your first, second, and third, if necessary, observation attached. So remember, this goes straight to the State Department. Besides just coming to us, it's going to go to their TA also, but this is going to go through many different levels. So when you aren't doing the things correct in the report, or if you put something in the report that is incorrect, or if the numbers are totally off, we are not the only people that is gonna notice it. So just be mindful.
And the State Department does look at the observation forms, especially if doing compliancy.
So, okay, so let's see. A sample lesson plan, ideally from a session, they should have that because they're going to be entering those into Cognia. So make sure that they give you a sample lesson plan. That's something that you should be asking for during your site visit. They might not be able to hand it to you during your site visit, but they should be able to send it to you once you leave from your site visit. So go ahead and be asking for those if you don't already have copies. A copy of your resume or your CV that should be in here so that whoever is reading the final report knows that you are qualified to be doing these observations and could be completing this report. Any surveys or questionnaires, excluding the teacher, student, parent, staff, or partner surveys in Easy Report. We have the data from the surveys from Easy Report. We want to know what survey instruments or questionnaires you used, which should be linked with your questions that you came up with for your observations and for your final report. So any surveys or observations that you came up with that were used to gather information and data for your final report and your data tables, if not included in the body of the report, but preferably I would say put it in the appendices. Photos, your photos can be sprinkled throughout. That's up to you, whether you want to sprinkle them throughout or put them in the appendices. We like seeing them, so I don't care where you put them. Do you agree, Linda Williams?
Absolutely.
She's a gram.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So did that answer your question, Dr. Bird? Because I didn't know what reports were supposed to be from Easy Report in here in the appendices. Okay, I guess so. Anybody else have any questions on the final report template?
Let me say this to Erica, because I've noticed on some of this, if you have more than one grantee, there's a lot of copying and pasting. So be careful with that, because we know that each individual site is unique. And I know some of the information is similar, but it should not be exact. Should not be exact, because each, like I said, each grantee is different. Because what's in one district may not be in the other district. So make sure you look at that when you are copying and pasting your information. Also, what I saw a lot of last year was people taking information from the previous year, placing it into this year or the previous year final report. For an example, if I was working on 22-23, I saw 21 into 22. Saying that this is your timeline. I went to observe in 21 instead of 22. make sure those your dates are up to date, because I've sent several back because of that. This is old data. Want to make sure that your data is updated. Make sure that when you're copying and pasting, be careful, because we're looking for information that you've done this year compared to that of last year, especially looking at those timelines and your recommendations and your accommodations. And recommendations should be very specific to those sites. Make sure you go over with the project director and the site coordinator. They need to know, what are you recommending? What do you suggest that they do in order to improve their program? I don't think we have a perfect program, but I think we have some really, really, really good program.
And I would also say when they're reading your final report, the recommendation shouldn't be the first time they've seen it. So if you're I'm gonna say it again, if you're recommending to a program that they should offer incentives or something to a student, and that is against the 21st century grant, I would not recommend that unless you are giving them a partner that they could potentially be working with to give them those incentives. So that you have to know the framework of 21st century. And if I was a program director and you told me that out of your mouth before you wrote it in your final report, I would tell you, oh no, 21st century doesn't let us buy anything like that. And then you should come up with another recommendation. So just be mindful of things like that. Because again, these are being seen by the State Department. And once I'm getting questioned on why you put XYZ into your final report, you are tipping your way close to not being on the list for external evaluation, because they're looking and they're saying, well, we keep noticing that this person that's an external evaluator, not doing things in compliance. So just be mindful of that.
And also, some of the recommendations are the same from school to school to school to school. Be careful with that, because the State Department is looking at these final reports. Not saying that you cannot share that information from one site to the other, but be careful.
Ms. McSwain said, if we're elementary, do we delete the secondary tables info? Yes.
Yeah,
Any info that's not applicable,
yeah.
You'll delete that.
And remember, you're creating a template that's for you and your program. This is just a guide.
So like, for instance, when she said secondary, so this GEPA measure on GPA is not applicable for elementary schools. It's only applicable for middle school and high school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm gonna switch my share and go back to the PowerPoint. Y'all got any other questions on the final reports? These are good questions on the actual template. And we kind of talked about these briefly, but the surveys, you have the reference of being able to look at Easy Report surveys and the data that's with that, but you should also have surveys and questionnaires that you developed to talk to the staff, to talk to parents, to talk to students, and potentially partners at your program. You shouldn't be relying on the site director or the program director to give you all of this information. You should have done some of the legwork with your observations to make sure that you were asking questions while you were meeting with these people. Observations, again, we talked about you have to do one per semester. Now, mind you, I do not care if you go to that site 3 or 4 times during the semester. Yes, build a relationship with your site to make sure that you're getting all the observation data and a lot of data to be able to put into this report. Make it the best report it can be by doing that for them. But you have to go and do a fall, a spring, and a summer observation. So be mindful of that. And when I say you, I mean you, not somebody that is a partner of yours or your employee or whoever. You, as the external evaluator, should be going and doing these observations yourself. If you are so busy that you can't go and do these observations yourself, then we need to be looking at, do you have too many sites? Or is this a responsibility that you should be taking on? Because they're I know for some people the budgets aren't what they want them to be, but this is a contract that you agreed on with them, and so you should be doing those observations. Assessments, go back to their RFA and make sure that whatever assessment that they wrote in the RFA that they would be putting, that is what you are entering and you're looking at as far as data in your final report. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't add extra assessments. Love it. Give me extra data. Give them extra data for things that they can be looking at in their program. That's the same thing, the state of Alabama, we have an external evaluator. So that's the same thing that we're looking at with our external evaluator. What longitudinal data can we look at to figure out, ways that our program is benefiting the community, ways that our program is benefiting families and students? Those are great things to add to this final report to make this final report more useful for the grantees. I've always said, coming from being a site director and then a program director in these sites, if I can use this, because I'm nonprofit minded, so if I can use this as an executive summary to give to a funder, if I can take pieces of this final report and give to a funder or put into a grant, then this helps me in more ways than just checking the box because it was something that has to be done. We want this to be a document that is used by the grantees, that's read by more than just the program and the site director. We want this to be read by community members and the school district and whoever else, so they can see what great programs we have and how our programs have helped the students and the community improve. So I got on my high horse about that, but that's where I am. Lesson plans, make sure that when they give you lesson plans that they're following the 21st century template. And the 21st century template for lesson plans is always going to align with the state standard. So I would just make sure that when they give it to you, that you make sure that it aligns with the state standard. You want it to be one of the best lesson plans that they could give you. You don't want to put just a subpar lesson plan in your final report. You want it to be a good one. Let's see. If an evaluator visits the grantee during a field trip, the observation instrument doesn't work very well. Can the evaluator develop his or own template for that type of observation? Yes. If it's so, yes, but I would also tell you that if you go and observe a field trip and you don't see them at the school, then that's not one of your 3 observations. So you need to give me an overall observation, you need to see them coming, you need to see them doing an activity completely, and then you need to see them going. So you need to be able to see their different procedures. So I do love the idea of you going on a field trip, but I don't want you just to go on the fun stuff. So if you decide to go on a field trip with them, that is kudos to you. Because I do think that that's an observation that is very valuable information for a site, because it's something that doesn't happen often. But just make sure that you're also gathering the overall data. So you get to the school before they leave, you see they're coming, you do the whole process. So you can make it one of the fall, spring, and summers, but you just got to make sure that you're not just meeting them at the field trip location. You have to be there at the school when they're loading, see the field trip, and then be there at the school when they're coming back. So be mindful of that. Where's
And
the
also,
correct lesson plan template? Oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, I was just, also, they got to make sure that they're following proper procedure. Are they loading the bus correctly? Are there
Exactly.
safety in place? So it's a lot entailed when you're going on a field trip. When you're looking for your certain things and making sure that they're exiting the bus correctly, getting on, it's just a lot.
Are they counting the students? Like that's a big ask. And that's what I'm saying. I love it if you decide you want to go on a field trip with them, but just make sure that everything that you're observing is correct. And that's when you need to be kind of, saying, hey, I noticed this isn't, and you need to be telling them right then. It should not be a recommendation that is in the final report months later. It should be a kind of something right then, because you might see a safety problem on a field trip. What is the correct lesson plan? Where is it? It's on the 21st century website, and I'll show y'all that in a second. I'll show you that in a second. But if you go to our website, you'll be able to, let me see. Let me go back. So everybody should have been to our website by now. All of our documents stay on the website. So it's alabama21cclc.org. Let me move that for myself. So you're gonna go over here to the 3 dashes, grantee forms, and then you're just gonna search for it. And I normally leave out any S's or something like that just to make sure that you get what you need. So we have separate field trip lesson plans but you can use, let's see, is this gonna give me what I want? Oh, that's not the right thing. Okay, that should work. Let me share that. Hold on, y'all. I've opened up a bunch of random things on easier. On that one. Okay, so this is the template that we're currently using, and it has all of the things on it. So how does it link to the objective and the state standard? So they should have an educational standard right here, the overview and the purpose, what's the title, grade level, the week, date, materials used. All of this should be completed. Follow-up, activity or reflection, outcome and evaluation. So this is on our website, and pretty much you can search for any of our documents in the grantee forms. We have another area where the external evaluator forms are. Following the lesson plan template is the response. Yes, it's the responsibility of the grantee, not the evaluator, correct. But I would say as the evaluator, you want to make sure that you are putting them in a light that's, so if you saw a lesson plan and they gave you, if this is a lesson that you observed and they gave you a lesson plan and it wasn't complete, I would tell them, hey, I'm gonna turn this into the State Department. Do you want to finish this? Because it's not like we're trying to catch them in a gotcha type of manner. We want to make sure that we're helping them because we're giving them recommendations. So one of your recommendations might be, after you see that they haven't completed the lesson plan, hey, staff needs to be trained on lesson planning and state standards, aligning with state standards. So that's a good recommendation, but that's also a time where you say, hey, I'm gonna send you this lesson plan back. You need to complete it so that I can send it, I can attach it into my final report. Let's see. Okay, let's go back. All right. This is just a time where we're pretty much, we've covered everything we wanted to cover. We kind of wanted to just give y'all some information, and we also wanted y'all to share some ideas between each other, things that work, things that don't work, ways that you have created a relationship with your grantee. Anything that you want to share with an external evaluator, now is the time for y'all you can raise your hand and I'll call on you, or you can unmute and talk, or you can enter it in the chat box, either one.
Oh, Erica, you may have to
I'm
volunteer.
a volunteer. Yeah, I'm looking.
Really
I'm looking.
quiet, really, really quiet. And I know they got some great things going on, but they are really, really quiet. So you may have to call on them because everybody got their hand up right now.
Miguel, you unmuted.
Yeah, I was going to ask. So you wanted great ideas about what we're doing or some recommendations?
Yep.
I know one thing that I think was really that I did this year and last year is just try to take video of some things that have been going on, and doing video interviews has really been helpful to make sure I've captured, not just photos, but actually, some good statements that I can use in my evaluations.
I will also say because Miguel's not saying one thing that he did last year that I thought was a great idea, and I had never seen an external evaluator do it. Um, we have a national 21st century summer symposium every year, and it's in different states. So last year it was in New Orleans, this year it was in San Francisco, which was a little further, but it's a free conference. It's open to anybody who wants to come. And they talk about all type of 21st century stuff, all type of 21st century programs. And Miguel was there. And I thought, well, that's the first time I ever seen an external evaluator there, but that was a great place to learn about 21st century. If you know, need a refresher, or if you want to come up with some good recommendations to give your grantees, then those are, you know, those type of conferences are the place to go. I say that one because it's put on by the federal government and it's free. But there are some other after school conferences. I'm on the board for National After School Association. They have a conference coming up in, I think, March, in Nashville. So that's pretty close. We have ACEA in our state. That's a conference that all of our 21st century grantees are required to come to. So that's a good conference. You hear the information as we hear it. But to be there and hear the information so that you know about 21st century firsthand. There's also a lot of you know, 21st century is a federal grant. So all of our recs and stuff that we have to abide by are on the website. They're on the federal website. It's the Nita M. Lowy 21st century grant. They're on the website. So then you can see what our recs are, what we have to do for 21st century. And then, you know, we have Alabama stuff that's also attached to that because we're a state. But then you know firsthand what's going on, and you know about 21st century, not just your grantee having to train you on the things that we have to do for 21st century. So I thought that was a good idea. Sarah Odom put in the comments, best advice is just to build relationships. I think Sarah does a really good job with that. Which conferences did you say he attended? The 21st century, and I put it in the chat box, 21st century summer symposium. I don't have the time, the date, and the place this year. It's normally, last couple of years has been like the last week or two of July. And it fluctuates on where it's been. I've been all the way. I went to San Francisco this year. It was in Phoenix one year. It's been a bunch of different places. It's been in DC a couple of times, but it was in New Orleans last year, and I saw Miguel there. But yeah, when the information comes out, it's normally on their website, and there's no rhyme or reason to when it comes out. I might not know until March where the location is and what the dates are, but I will try to remember to get Linda Williams to send it to y'all when it comes out, because again, it's free. So it's, you know, it's one that it isn't gonna cost you the registration fee. ACA's registration is $350. It'll be in Mobile this year. It's gonna back up Mardi Gras, so it'll be, let me give y'all those dates right now. The 26th through the 28th. February 26th through 28th is ACA's dates. And again, that's the Alabama Community Education Association. So all of the 21st century grantees are required to go to the to ACA. Okay, so Michelle said, go ahead.
I was going to say something, Erica. It would be nice if you guys will build some type of network, because you could be one of your sites could be struggling at something, and somebody else may have a great idea on how they handled that particular issue. So it would be great if you all learn how to communicate with one another, to share or to piggyback off one another with your ideas. It's like iron sharpening iron. So think about it.
And I'm glad you said that, because Michelle just asked, does anybody have a survey that they would like to share samples of what they're using? So she's only used the surveys from Easy Report in the past. So Michelle, when you go out and do observations, do you talk to the stakeholders, parents, students, teachers, and you don't have questionnaires for them then either?
Erica, this is Sarah.
Mhm.
I did surveys for years, extra surveys, wrote them, gave them to them, sent them out. And it was like, you can't really get a lot of them to return them. And so over the past, I'd say 3 or 4 years, I just solely relied on what they had to do, because our stakeholders were telling me they did not have time. They couldn't get it back. They didn't have time for their students to do them, or their parents wouldn't return them. So I have actually moved away from those, just using my own observations, talking to them. But if you're saying we need to go back to it, then hey, I've got tons I can share with folks. I did STEM surveys, SEL surveys, social learning surveys for their social projects that they did. I tried all of that, and I just didn't
I'm
have good.
fine if I completely understand because I've done surveys. I'm fine if you just utilize the surveys from Easy Report. The thing is that to have the questions and the interviews when you're talking to people. So if you have a sample questions that you generally talk to people and you kind of ask them, I'm fine with that. That's a sampling of your population.
Well, but I was going to say, if anybody wants a survey, I'm willing to network with you all. I'm happy to share them because I promise you, I've done all kinds of surveys, created them in Google Forms. They're already done. They're there. They're available. I just kind of have drifted away from it because I didn't have good response with it. But I'm happy to share. I've done all kinds of stuff in the past to try to, and if someone asks for a particular survey, I remember one particular person, he would always ask me for one, and I would get in there and create it for him real quick and send it right back out to him. Then at the end of the year, I'd ask for the results from it, and he'd say, "Oh, you know what? We never got around to doing that." So I've created a bunch, and I'm happy to share them. I don't know, maybe I need to get a rejuvenation or something. Maybe I've been doing this too long. I need to get y'all are making me feel convicted today.
I
But
mean, well, Terrence says in the comments they've done Google surveys with the students, and they're not a newer site, but they've swapped grantees in the last couple of years, and they provided valuable insight. So some of the sites may have created surveys that they do. We do have sites that do pre and post tests. I know Sarah has a lot of locations that do pre and post tests. Pre and post tests is something she pushes, which we at the State Department and TPI, we love to see it. But make sure that we just want you to do something that aligns with the evaluation questions that you came up with. So you need to be talking to parents, students, staff, those stakeholders, so you can at least create a sampling of the population. So if they have 100 kids, then you need to at least be shooting for talking to 5 or 6 people. And that needs to be kind of a focus when you're coming and doing the observation. So I've heard from some people, oh, well, my external evaluator came and stayed for an hour. Well, you should be planning to stay for the whole after school program when you go and do an observation, because you need to be seeing the beginning of the program, how they're coming in. You need to see their procedures to see, can you help with that? Do you notice that something is missing? If on that particular day, did the student get lost or what happened? Give us a whole vantage point, because we're not able to go see all these sites. That's one of the points of external evaluation. And during that time, that's a time when you can be talking to parents and students and staff as they're flowing through the program. So I also attended some of the staff meetings. Okay, that's good.
Erica, may I make one more quick
Mhm.
thing, and I will hush, I promise. What I did do for my folks, because I'm so much about, I was trained by those folks at South Alabama. When you do a scientific study, it's supposed to be, on the spot. But what I did do with my questions when I developed those, I don't just look, and you'll notice this in my reports, I don't just look at what they said they would do that was measurable and that SMART objective. I also added perceptual questions that I asked and am gaining that information from. So in a way, I did put a survey in, but it was more about perceptual data and how I could go get that and find that, and other data that would support what they were trying to accomplish in that measurable objective that might not get done, or that they needed more, more validation that it happened. So I did do it, but not just in a survey form. I do have it in my questions. I added those extra questions in because I wanted to have a well-rounded view. I know that test scores don't always give the whole picture, so I wanted a way to show growth that just didn't come from a test score or whatever they may have used. So I did do it in a way, but just not in the survey way.
Okay. I like that. I want you to try to glean as much information as you can to share in their final report. So I like that. Miguel he had candy available to students who completed the summer survey. I like that. I mean, if you want to give them an incentive, it's a good way for you to incentivize them to complete it. I would always be available, you know, when I did surveys myself or when my external evaluator came, hey, stand at my sign house desk while you're waiting on your kid. Hey, can you fill out my survey? And I'll have it in a digital form or a sheet of paper, or however you need it. Miguel also said he attended some of the staff meetings and requested time to have them administer and complete their staff meetings. I have seen at least one other external evaluator that was at a staff meeting, and I almost called his name, but he was one of the Tuscaloosa site external evaluators. But yes, go into their staff meetings, meet them, make sure that they know who you are, see what they're supposed to be focusing on, and then that can help you kind of get information and drive your data for what they're looking for. Pam Cloud says she discussed new service learning opportunity possibilities that truly serve their community. That's good, because that's something that a lot of them need help on. Service learning and STEM is one or two of the big things that the State Department, we see that the grantees are having trouble with. So if y'all want to give recommendations out the wazoo for those would be great, because those are things that they need. And that's what we want y'all to be noticing when you're doing observations. What are things that they really need that you can help them with to truly make their program better, to make their communities better, to help their families. So thank y'all for that. Good recommendations.
Erica, what quick question. I just
Mhm.
realized, we get so caught up in like I'm writing my own evaluations and editing them and everything. Like I've not had a chance to read other evaluators' work. Is that something that we do, or is something that's possible, or is not something that's not done at all?
I'm not gonna say it's not done. I think that goes along with what Linda Williams is talking about, networking and y'all becoming accessible to each other. Some of the evaluators do know each other, and I would say that they have read other evaluation plans or final reports previously. So I would just say it's more reaching out, and if y'all want us to create uh, I think when Linda Williams sends it out, she might blind copy y'all. But if y'all want to create a network and we send all the emails for all the active external evaluators to each other, then we will do that, because we want y'all to link up and make sure, because I feel like the networking would make all the final reports better. I don't think it would be a bad thing. So yeah, that's definitely something that we can try to work on.
And even if
Okay.
you can create something in Microsoft Teams so they can become a team and share and piggyback off each other. It's just
That's true. I'll look at that. That was pretty much our Q&A session.
Let me
Go
ask you
ahead.
this, Erica, with sharing, because I don't care who looks at mine, but do we have to worry about any FERPA or anything like that with sharing between evaluators since it's already going to be a public document? There's no
Right. It's already a
problem with that,
public
right?
document. You shouldn't be putting students' names or other identifiable information in the report. So no, it should be fine for y'all to share them with each other. They're supposed to be public. The grantees are supposed to share it with their stakeholders. They can place them on their website if they would like. Like I said, they can use pieces of it to write other proposals, or they're gonna use pieces of it to go in their continuation grant. So yeah, I'm all for it.
Erica, have a couple of just a couple of points to make in terms of data collection. It might be good to share that Unified Insights is kind of an extension of Power School for our day school, and whether they're community based or public school based, the external evaluators may can share that. There's data such as attendance, behavior data, grades filter into Unified Insights. It's like a one-stop shop, and they're like SRIPs or student reading intervention plans. We're about to add math intervention to it, but once Power School is linked, and we click the 21st Century tab in Power School, then in Unified Insights, there's reports that can be created just for your 21st century students. It can filter down, and that may help you guys too. Working, Stacy Royster is, I know you know who she is with the state as far as power school. She's our state power school guru. But she might could work with you and pull in some of that data that you've been having difficulty receiving. Unified Insights also uploads the early years assessment, the benchmark assessments that's done during the day school too. And one other point, is we had our state meetings today. The State Department of Education has added a new Office of Extended Learning, and just thought I'd share that. Their vision is to empower all students with access to high quality extended learning opportunities that maximize their continuous growth and success. And
Yeah,
Jeff,
he's gonna come to Jeff. He's gonna come to the 21st century trainings
okay, good
starting
deal.
next week.
So just wanted to
Just
be
heard
sure
his name.
everybody was aware of that. I was pretty pumped and excited to know that the state, the Department of Education has put that kind of a focus on out of school learning. So, okay, that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. Jennifer's gonna send me information on the Unified Insights so I can figure out. I'll get Amanda to try to figure out what we can do. Because yes, we're pulling teeth to get the Power School information. I promise y'all we're working on it, but it is not an easy process. Let's see. This is all of our contact information for anybody who needs to contact us. We will start working on, me and Linda Williams will get together and try to figure out how we can get all of y'all's information shared within y'all. So within the external evaluator, so y'all can start networking and get together to try to figure out like Miguel said, because he's a newer external evaluator, try to see what other reports look like. Because I feel like that would really help to beef up everybody's report if they saw, oh, this person does this and this person, because everybody does something different. But hey, why recreate the wheel when all of us can kind of help each other? But yeah, that's all we have.
Erica, can I say one thing before we
Mhm.
leave? Some of you all did not register. The link is still open. I went back and adjusted the time just for a few minutes. So if you all would just, because we want to make sure that we have you connected with your correct site, your correct site coordinator, your program director, all that information is valuable to us. So that's another way we can group you all together. It's about how you're connected with these grantees. So please fill out that information if you have time before tonight, because after 12 o'clock tomorrow, it's gone.
Linda,
Yes.
this is Pamela Cloud.
Hey, Pam.
Hey, I sent in all the information, with the names and the email addresses, and I added the E to Mr. Holly's name, and I didn't mean to, so I have to resend that. I'm sorry.
No. Don't redo it. I know Chris Holly, so that's
Okay.
fine.
Well, I just want to let you know, I feel so bad. I didn't do it on the on any of the reports. I don't know why I did it in the email.
It's okay.
Thank you. Just want to let you. Thanks. Bye.
Bye, Pam.
Hey, Erica, last question. If I do, because I compressed my reports last year, because I had to kind of recompress them again. I don't know if I can't get it down enough to upload, what do I do? Just kind of let you know, or just in case I need enough space, because I
Let me
know
know
last
and
year was really close.
let me know and we'll figure it out.
Okay, no worries.
Hey, can you do a hyperlink?
We probably could add a space for the
Erica, sometimes I can't get into those hyperlinks.
yeah.
So
Let's think about it. But if you have that issue, if you try to upload and you have issues, let me know. Because we might have to create a box or something. But box gets really funny with reports like this because it thinks it sees student data. So it literally kicks you out and says, oh no, this looks like purple. So, but yes, if you have that problem, let me know. We'll work with it.
Okay, no worries. Thank you.
I had really large ones and I usually just saved it as a reduced PDF. That helped me out because I had so many pictures and they had a lot of memory. So I would always save mine as a reduced PDF and upload it.
So just take some of the definition out of it. Okay, cool beans. No worries. Thank you.
All right. Thank y'all
Thank
for
y'all,
coming.
thank y'all so much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you a lot.
Thank y'all for sharing.
Have a good evening. Stay out of the storm, please.